The FSSAI, Mr. Agarwal, is marking 10 years of food safety laws in India, 10 years of the FSSAI. You're marking the 10th anniversary with 10 new initiatives. So what are the 10 new initiatives that you're kicking off?
Thank you, Manvi. Thank you for covering food safety law, a decade of food safety law, which is a momentous occasion for the country as far as food safety is concerned. So over the past few years, we have been working towards setting standards for food, and now over the past few months and in the near future, much of the standard setting work would be over, even though this is a continuing process of improving on standards and adopting international standards as we go on with further innovation into in the food sector. Now the next phase is compliance of these standards and the regulatory practices that we have, and to upgrade our lab infrastructure so that the compliance can be more effectively done. And the focus of the Food Authority in the future would be the focus around surveillance and enforcement, focus on improving the lab infrastructure so that we can test the food reliably.
Okay, so you've given us a sense of the overall focus of the FSSAI, but of the 10 initiatives, I did want to focus on one or two in particular, particularly those that have an easily quantifiable or measurable impact. I understand that you're going to be really ensuring that compulsory licensing of businesses that supply midday meals to schools, that the compulsory licensing happens. Can you talk about that?
In fact, this initiative on safe and nutritious food at school, and midday meal scheme, is a part of that particular initiative, and in this, under this initiative, we are expected to see that safe and nutritious food is available in school, whether in canteen or in the other outlets that are in schools. And under the midday meal scheme, all the midday meal scheme suppliers and the canteens, the kitchens, they are expected to have FSSAI licenses and registration depending on the size of the businesses, and this requirement is a legal requirement. This is not a new requirement, and our sense is that most of them already have it. Now it is a comprehensive initiative wherein we are including the midday meal scheme and a better compliance of the regulatory practices as far as safe cooking of midday meal scheme food is concerned, but also going beyond that, what is served in canteen, what is served in outlets within the school and near the school premises, that is also covered.
It always strikes one how the canvas for the FSSAI is so very wide. Food safety in the Indian context, it's a big task. So what are the priorities that you've set? Must address some areas first.
Yes, Manvi, you're right. The canvas is very, very wide. And we cannot prioritize one sector over other. In fact, if you look at the 10 initiatives, we are beginning from, ensuring food safety at home, to school, to workplace, to trains, at railway stations, and beyond. So the whole idea is that, we create framework for ensuring safe and nutritious food, and citizens at large and food businesses, they join this effort and in making it happen.
You mentioned the need to ramp up surveillance and enforcement, and I think that's what it really boils down to, because you can set the standards, but unless they're enforced, it doesn't serve that much of a purpose. How are you going about that?
In fact, more organized efforts. We had a meeting with the state food safety commissioners and principal secretaries of health yesterday, and we have identified 6 food product areas where more intensive work would be done by the states with the support of the FSSAI, and this includes the milk, packaged drinking water, honey, edible oil, and products like that.
Okay, so let's pick milk and presumably dairy products as well. What are the first few things that you're going to be tackling to ensure milk purity on a national scale, because they're too big mandate?
Yes, in fact, FSSAI is launching a national milk quality survey, and the basic groundwork for launch of the survey has been done, and we hope to get a better sense of the quality of milk that is served to the consumers and citizens in the country in the next few months.
So when you say next few months, I'm keen to know, is it 2 months, 4 months, 6 months? Just trying to get a sense of what the timelines are.
Actually, once we roll it out and we start getting results, we will have a better sense of that. But at this stage, I would say that 3 to 5 months would be a reasonable expectation.
But in order to achieve, all of these surveys on quality, whether it's milk or otherwise, you're going to have to ramp up your lab capacity simultaneously and pretty fast to, address all of these testing needs. So what are you planning on that front?
Yes, that's right. In fact, we are working towards helping the state governments to upgrade the lab infrastructure that they have. There are 72 state labs, and we'll support at least one, in bigger states 2 state labs, so that they have major advanced equipment for food testing. In addition to that, there are 112 private labs that are NABL accredited, and FSSAI has notified them for the purpose of food testing. So we are looking at both public and private infrastructure for food testing. And as the food testing becomes more widespread, more lab facilities would be created both in the public and private sector.
And this is, as you indicated, there are going to be government labs and there are going to be private labs, and sometimes private labs can ramp up faster. I'm going to ask you this question because you probably have a sense of the pace at which private labs are coming up. How many more do you see coming up, say, over the next 12 months?
I think I have seen a very rapid rise in numbers of private labs. Over the past 6 to 8 months, I have seen the numbers rise from 72 to 114, 112 to 14. And I can see this increasing to about 200 in the next 12 months.
Okay, fair enough. There are so many different pieces of the food security mandate that I want to cover today. You've talked, and I mean the FSSAI has talked about testing water purity. Now, a clarification is necessary. When you say testing water purity, are you saying just testing the purity of water that is in bottles, so bottled water, or are you going to focus on, tap water that flows into homes as well through the municipal system?
As far as the water is concerned, under the legislation under which we operate, we have the mandate to check the quality and safety of potable water in packaged condition. So we do not have a mandate for water supplied by the municipal authorities and other authorities, and so I think there is some confusion about that. So let me clarify that mandate FSSAI currently does not have, even though sometimes it is discussed and debated whether FSSAI should be given the mandate to ensure safety of water that is available to us through municipal bodies and local bodies.
Okay, Mr. Agarwal, I wanted to ask you a slightly wider question. How are you ensuring, because like we've talked in the course of this conversation, food safety in India, it's a lot of ground to cover. How are you ensuring that the actions of the regulator, the FSSAI, are not seen as a, ad hoc, selective witch hunt, but instead a collaborative approach to ensure that, everyone, the end consumers, really are guaranteed food safety in India?
In fact, at the heart of all of this is the mutual trust that various stakeholders have in the system and the shared responsibility that they have towards ensuring food safety for all. And we have made significant progress in this regard. In fact, if we had covered the event day 4 yesterday, there were over 600 guests, representing all stakeholders, right from food businesses to consumer organizations to scientists, state government officials, lab people, and people from even international community. So we do hope that if there's an alignment of the actions across the stakeholders, will be able to ensure safe food for our citizens.
But from the Maggie chapter, what are the key learnings or the takeaways for the food regulator?
No, this episode definitely, gave greater visibility to FSSAI, but I think it will be fair to say that people at large are becoming more concerned about the food they eat. We are all becoming more health conscious, and it is a result of all this that, we are getting more encouragement and support from public at large and various stakeholders.
I keep circling back to the fact that, it's a big job. And that's why, as an organization, is the FSSAI ramping up in-house resources, really building on that in-house capability to perform its, job well?
Yes, definitely. I think, we have increased the number of staff in the organization in the recent past. And not only that, I think we are trying to work with other stakeholders as closely as possible, because you are not likely to be able to get all the people that you need internally. You have to work with external stakeholders and work through alliances and collaborations.
But, one reflection of the government's commitment to strengthening the food regulator is the budgetary allocation. So is that correspondingly going up?
Yes, budget is not an issue. In fact, the government is committed to support strengthening of public food lab ecosystem in the country, and the Honorable Minister, while speaking on the occasion of the Decade event, announced this, that this scheme would soon be rolled out.
Well, Mr. Agarwal, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you very much for your time today. All the best.